Let's understand, how do politicians in Europe think? Now, when the Commission here were going to the politicians, they said, we want to spend 76 billion euro on research. Now, the politicians said, if you're spending 76 billion, we want to make sure it addresses real societal challenges. So they said, okay, we want 40% of the money spent on real. Now, that word real is becoming a new word in Brussels. Before it was whoever lobbied hardest. Now they want to make sure that we're addressing real problems. So we need to look at Pillar 3 of Horizon 2020, which I'm going to look at. Now this is something that Irish people would not be familiar with, but in Europe you can't compare Germany to Ireland. You can't compare France to Estonia. So what they do in Brussels is they divide Europe into 275 regions. So in Ireland you have the southern region, the border Midlands and West, and the eastern region. Now you could compare the southern region of Ireland to the Freiburg region of Germany. So it's like the common denominator, and they use this to distribute structural funds. Now when Ireland joined in 1973, we were 38% below the wealth of the European average wealth. So we got loads of structural funds. Today we're 40% above the average and we get very little structural funds. But over the last 10 years, something amazing has happened in Brussels. The concept of a regional innovation divide has come up. So there's now a map of Ireland showing that Dublin, very innovative. You have all the universities and research centres. Cork, quite innovative. Midlands maybe less innovative. You have one university. But if you look at the whole map of Europe, they're saying in Germany and the UK and France, some regions are innovative and others aren't. So regional innovation has become a big political issue. Now this is where MOCRA has to really dominate, and if you look at the local authorities, they're looking for getting regions to become models, and they've developed this concept of a smart specialization strategy. Now, has anybody read the smart specialization strategy for the regions of Ireland? It exists. Some civil servant probably wrote it or took an existing document, changed the cover. Why aren't you writing the smart specialization strategy for your region? You're saying in Galway that we've a bay area. We could become the model for the cleaning of bays. So what you're doing in Galway, you could say as part of the Western smart specialization strategy, having clean harbours or marine strategy could become the model for Europe. So this is something I would say for the wheel in general, you should have a major input of the smart specialization strategies. Now, if you wanted, Google, Europa.eu, smart specialization Ireland. Nobody seems to know about these kind of things. And the structural funds in future is going to be driven by this. So this whole concept of smart specialization and regional innovation is something the local authorities in particular can do. Now, this is what we normally hear about research. It's about making industry more competitive. Now, up to Framework 7, most of the money went to Philips, Siemens, big research centres and IT. So the IT people here, Pillar 2 is what you love. Now, in Framework 7, which was the previous programme, something new happened. The basic scientists learned how to lobby, and they convinced the politicians that we should be putting money into basic science. Now, can I give you an example of lobbying? The way the farmers lobby in Brussels here, they bring loads of milk to the European quarter, and they spilt the milk all over the European quarter. The following day, the whole place was stinking. But it was a protest, but it got the attention. Another time they brought turnips as a protest. Do you remember here they brought the sheep to the Dáil and they released something like 400 sheep into the Dáil. So again, that's to get the media attention to their causes. Now that's an aggressive form of lobbying, and that's not what I'm suggesting here. The better form is where you're part of the team. But in the middle of 2013, the basic scientists did something very clever. They brought 56 Nobel Prize winners. Can you imagine sitting across the table from 56 Nobel Prize winners and they doubled the budget for basic science? So you can see it does work. You can either protest like the farmers, or you can sit at the table or make solid cases. Now, another thing that's not very relevant to you, but cooperation with Africa, China, India, science is part of European policy. So if any of you are working with developing countries, Europe has a science agreement with Africa, and I know Trinity College does a lot of research with water desalination and water cleaning. So is anybody working with third world countries or anything? Yeah, so that's a big part of it. So Zambia and Tanzania can participate and they can receive funding. So that's part of the whole thing. So let's look at the programs.